and I appreciate it. Uh, there's only one of me. For some reason, it shows the thumbnail. There's another Timothy Taylor that's muted, but I'm not sure how that's coming up. But that's technology, right? Uh, but I guess there's not a whole lot of people that are in right now on our webinar. But just remember, it's always quality over quantity. So I appreciate the ones that have decided to join us here this evening. And of course, it will be recorded, so I know others are going to watch it at a later time. I am very, very excited to have two guest speakers with us this evening. Tanya Avrith, of course, we were fortunate to have her give a presentation a couple of months ago, back in November, I believe. And then joining her this evening, we have Holly Clark, and those two names should, I'm sure, recognized by everybody. I've got Charles' awesome book right here.
Oh, you have the old version. We need to send you the new version. We've got to do that. We'll get your address and send you the new one.
I wish y'all could sign it somehow.
We can sign it.
I would love to have a signed copy of the new.
We will. We
Okay.
will. Holly and I are together next week, so we will sign a copy and get that off.
But so these two are really rock stars when it comes to instructional technology world. So I really appreciate y'all taking time to share y'all's knowledge with us this evening about making learning visible and everything. So without much further ado, okay, let's go and turn it over to Holly and Tanya, and we really look forward to what you share with us tonight. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and Tanya, if you want to introduce yourself really quickly while I share the screen, that would be great.
Yeah, totally. So I'm so happy to be here, and honestly so honored that you would ask us back. My name is Tanya Avrith, and I'm an educator. I also work at Adobe on the community team, and so I'm just always so excited to be able to work with teachers and share the work that we do. So thank you for having us. And Holly, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay, so can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Holly Clark, and I live on the opposite coast of all of you. I live in San Diego, and I am a 25 plus year educator and author and co-author. So author of the Chromebook Infused Classroom, and then co-author of the Google Infused Classroom. And now I spend my time helping districts and schools and teachers and people all over the world. Not as much all over the world the last 2 years, but next month, Peru, we're hoping. But helping people really make that leap from analog to digital, we'll say. And so what we're going to do today is, I know that you guys all know the technology. So I want to show you how I break this down to teachers to help them see the difference. Because often, and I have found, and I don't know if it's true of your schools, but I have found that since we went back, teachers are doing less technology than I had hoped. And I thought, wow, we finally got this. Like now everyone's going to do it. And they did. And then they went back to in person and was like PTSD or something. So I really have been working to find this way where I can get teachers to see the difference in how things can be amplified with technology. And that is, that's what we're going to look at tonight. So I'm going to have you actually doing things, and I'm going to explain what I'm going to have you do. So I want you to play along. This is going to be hands-on, but really for most of you, it's going to be taking back this kind of language and helping move your teachers, because it's taken me a long time to figure out how to move teachers, which I'm sure you guys are doing amazingly too. So between our two ideas, like maybe it can help. And what puts me in this position is because I just did a TikTok about it, actually, as I've had a one-to-one classroom, and I jokingly put since the 1900s, because I've had it since 1999 in the year 2000. So I thought that was kind of funny. Like I've had a one-to-one classroom since the 1900s. But so I've been dealing with this for 22 years. I'm getting old. And so I've been able to kind of wrap my head around this. And then one day I met Tanya at a conference, and we were like soul sisters. And so we wrote a book, and what's going to come out of this is going to be a little bit of both of us taking things, trying to take things to the next level. So I just wanted to, so I'm Holly, and those are the two books, but I also wanted to say something really quickly about social media. So a lot of us are on Twitter. Some people are on Instagram. Instagram's not my favorite, but I try to go there. But I've been doing a lot of stuff on TikTok. And when you hear TikTok, I don't want you to think about teenagers dancing. There's a lot of great PD happening on TikTok. So I do this 1 minute PD that's really easily shareable. I do stuff like things you might not have learned in teacher preparation school. And I talk about DOK in 1 minute so that you can share that out with people. So even if you're not on TikTok, you can go to a tab and type in TikTok Holly Clark EDU, and you can, and we have someone who's there, Katie Goes, and you can just, you can watch some of those TikToks or share them out with teachers, because that little 1 minute PD is kind of nice for some teachers who are so busy right now. So all of the socials, it's Holly Clark EDU. But in this session, what we're really going to look at is what are our visible thinking routines, which you guys probably already know, but how do we infuse technology with these so that they become more powerful? And here's the message that I'm trying to get to teachers, is that we are infusing what is already research-based practices like differentiation. And you guys are from Virginia, so Carol Ann Tomlinson's your girl, but taking great research-based things like this and infusing it with technology so that it's stronger. Because one thing I noticed is she doesn't talk about technology a lot, but she's great at differentiation. She's added Flipgrid here and there, but now we need to take those things we know work, like visible thinking routines, and infuse them with technology in a way that empowers teaching and learning. And so what I've been doing with teachers lately is, and I'm going to do it with you, is comparing the analog and the digital and having them discover for themselves how much more powerful one is over the other. And so that's what we're going to do today. And I want you just to experience it the way teachers need to experience it in order to have that change, in order to make that shift. So we're going to deconstruct together in the chat what worked and what didn't work. And we're going to really like have a framework, hopefully that teachers can do, because I am telling you, I see like everyone was doing Jamboard in remote learning and now no one's using it. So I'm trying to like understand how I can get these teachers to move. So this slide is really about the infused classroom student, because we talk all about infused classroom, but really all of this is about students, them having a digital learning experience that it's powerful. So there's an infused classroom student framework that says, how do we first activate their curiosity? Because often we leave that out. And that's like the most important step in giving them the background knowledge they need. How do we help them learn to be digital citizens, manage and keep track of their learning, this kind of stuff. But we're going to be looking at this third one, which is how do we allow them to apply and demonstrate knowledge and really think about that knowledge. So I'm going to actually come back to this slide in a second. We're going to do it after we do something. So the first thing that we're going to do in what we need to help teachers understand that students need to do is we're going to explore. Before I jump in and start talking about visible thinking, because some of you know stuff, some of you don't, we're all going to take 5 minutes to explore this one site. And for those of you who may not have gone to the site or who have gone to the site, it's been revamped in the last 4 months. And also it's a great site to share with teachers, to have them understand visible thinking. So I'm going to go to this slide, and if I click on it, it's going to open it. And I want to show you really quickly how it works. So this is Project Zero out of Harvard, their thinking routine toolbox. And they're the people who came up with this whole idea of visible thinking. And there's a Project Zero, there's a PD you can go to in July. I don't know if it's going on this July, but possibly. And it's a really, really great PD. But what we're going to do is look at the routines, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes just to poke around inside of this site. And what happens when you go to one, let's just say you go to the core thinking routines, And we go to, I used to think, now I think. What happens is that you have to go down here to the resource links. I personally, if I would have designed this site myself, I would have put this up here somewhere. But you go here and it will open and it'll tell you, what is this routine? I used to think, now I think. But you'll notice it's missing technology. And that's where the infused classroom comes in. We take this foundational concept and we infuse it with technology to make it more powerful in 2022. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to put up a timer, and you're just going to explore this site so you're familiar with it and you can share it with teachers. So I'm going to put up, so by the way, to get to it, oops, I'm in the wrong thing. You go to slide, let me just go to the slides this way, slide 7. And if you're not there, maybe someone can put the link in the, I think it's already it's already there, a little bit up. And you'll go to slide, 7. You click on the photo, it's linked, and then 5 minutes to explore. So I'm going to go start that timer. So now I just have to trust you. But I teach middle school, so I have to trust, or I did. So the timer is going to come down for a second because I'm going to also explore. Actually, I'll move it over here. Oh, there's some good ones for perspective taking. So there's 3 minutes left. If you find one you really like, you can share it with all of us in the chat. Whoa. Huh. So I really like this one. It's called True for Who. I have to be honest, I hadn't seen that one before. And we're at the 2-minute warning for those people into the playoffs this weekend. Ooh, people, parts, and interactions. That looks good. So we have one shared by Marie called People, Parts, and Interactions. Timothy, or don't know, do you go by Tim or Timothy?
Either one.
Okay.
Timothy.
Okay. Well, you shared step in, step out, and step back. Ah. And Marie's saying it has a version for littles too. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. But as you look through these, you can see that these are really great ideas, things to start discussions, but they have like, I personally want to go to Flipgrid for some of this or some places, and that's what we're going to look at next. Yeah, it's been updated. Tanya was like, I told her about it the other day, and she's like, I know. And I'm like, no, it's been updated.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, you're right. It's good.
Now I just want to go through and add the technology component. I've actually talked to him about it, but I just don't have time someday. So about 5 seconds. And we are going to come back. So outside of it not having technology, take a second and I wonder, is there anything that you noticed about this site or these activities? And if you could answer in the chat, that'd be great. Or, I mean, you could turn on your mic too. There's not that many of us in here. Oh, yeah, it will. Please let me know how that goes. They create engagement, Jody said. They encourage discussion. They're not content specific, which I believe good learning isn't. I get a lot of people who are always emailing me, do you have a science Explore board? Because I'm really into Explore boards right now. And I'm like, no. But I mean, they could be made. I also notice that say something like, I used to think, now I think one of the routines was 3 different places, I think. So it got at different perspectives in their opinion. And Marie said they're flexible for a variety of ages. Absolutely. It just takes that's where you're teaching. I like to call it masterful pedagogy. If you're a masterful pedagogist, you can take this parts, people, interactions, whatever. That's what I had open, and you can put it to the level that it needs to go. And that's when we know we have a masterful pedagogist. They incorporate reflection, which is really important. Nice. So, so now we have these incredible like discussion points where we're going to make thinking visible, but we haven't, and let me come over here. We haven't infused them with technology. So we're going to try that, doing a couple things, and we're going to break it down and see what you think. Now, I want to explain to you what I'm doing, because I think this is a really important concept. If I had to say, this is something that teachers don't learn in teacher preparation school, unless they have Timothy for a teacher. But most of the time, they don't learn this idea of just let people explore first. And that's kind of what I did with you. I let you jump in, look at some of these. Some of you were like, yeah, I've used this. Some of you saw some that you didn't know before I jumped in. And that makes you a little often more curious about things. It makes you, it gives you some background knowledge, because we know pedagogically that you need background knowledge in order to make learning stick, to be able to dig your teeth into something. And often what we do is we just jump in. So like we walk in and say, today we're learning proportions and you're going to love it. Instead of letting kids play with proportions and see them in real life first. So we did an exploration activity, and those of you who know the 5 E's, this is kind of like a 3 version of that, but really important that we help teachers see that exploration needs to be there. So now I'm going to get to the explain portion, where I'm kind of explaining what these things are. I'm not going to do a lot of explaining, because I think I'm working with some great teachers here, and I won't have to go as rudimentary as normal. But the visible thinking routines, as you see, come out of Harvard. And Ron Richard wrote the book, Making Thinking Visible. He's also out of Harvard. And when they first came up with these, there were 12. And let me see if I have or 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm missing one there because there were 12. And that would be fun. Which one am I missing for the originals? But anyway, so here are those visible thinking routines. And they are not meant to be one-offs that you do, like we're going to do a see, think, wonder, and we're never going to do it again. They're meant to become part of a student's thinking tool belt so that they begin that metacognitive process of thinking about thinking. So at some point, if you're really doing these correctly, you would put these on a poster on a wall and be like, you pick the one that works for you in this activity, instead of telling kids they have to do see, think, wonder. We have to introduce it to them and let them do it a couple times, but maybe by second semester, they get to pick the thinking routine that works best for them. And that would be in the ultimate classroom. I can barely get people to do one. So that's like in a dream scenario, but like, that's what we're trying to go for. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to actually do see, think, wonder. And we're going to do a couple things here. But first, before we go into see, think, wonder, we're going to get some inspiration from Ron Richard. It says about visible thinking and making thinking visible. Most of all, have the confidence in every learner's ability to think and your capacity to nurture that thinking. We don't really often take the time to nurture thinking, and it has to be nurtured, just like questioning has to be nurtured. And so the results will amaze and energize you. And I know that teachers right now are not super energized, at least the ones I'm working with. And this is that aha moment. That is why we all became teachers. When we see a kid go, or they're getting their thinking. And so this is another way to energize teachers at this time. So what we're going to do now is we've explored, I've explained a little bit, not too much because you guys are top of your game. And now we're going to apply this. So we're going to do our technology infusions. So on slide 13, I've given you a short clip from TikTok. And if you are a person who's like, I'm not going on TikTok ever, there is actually a YouTube video. A Google Drive video that I put together. But if either one, whichever one you want, I want you to watch the video, and then on a piece of paper right now, or on a Google Doc, it's fine. I want you to tell me what you see, what you think, and what you wonder about this. And I'm going to give you a little background. This is the first rover when it first landed in Mars. And there's not much to it. And so you're writing down somewhere because we're going to ask you some questions. And it has music, makes it a little nicer. And I will say, when I do this routine with students, I tell them they can't just say, I see dirt. They have to give me some details, some information. Is it dry? Is it wet dirt? Is it cracked? Is it like, they've got to give me more than I see dirt. What color's the dirt? What's in the horizon? Do you see the sky? So in about 1 minute, maybe 2, we're going to share. and I'm going to talk over you a little bit, but when I do a video like this, I'm actually teaching kids to avoid the shortcut of dirt. Okay, I hope that you have enough written down. So I'm going to take you back to my 1900s classroom where I would say to you, so what did you guys see? And people would raise their hand. And I would hear from 5 kids who would tell me what they saw. And I would take in that information. And I'm going to be honest with you about not being the greatest teacher in the 1900s. I would take in that information and think to myself, okay, they're getting it. They're seeing whatever it is I wanted them to see because I'm hearing from 5 kids. But we're not in a 1900s classroom. We're in a 2022 classroom. And in that scenario, I'm not hearing from every kid in my class. And you've written stuff down, but now if you happen to turn it in, it's like a contract between me and you that I'm going to see that stuff, but no one else is going to see it. No one's going to learn from each other. I'm going to miss the metacognitive stuff that could happen by you guys sharing that. So what we're going to do is we are going to, let me move back over here. We're going to now infuse technology. So you've experienced it in analog, and I don't have to tell you guys. I would go into this more if I were doing a PD at your school or something, but I would do the scenario of pass it forward and all of the things so people could see how limited that really is compared to what we're about to do. So with this technology infusion, we're going to use Padlet, which I always come back to. I do love this tool, despite how expensive it has become. And we are going to go to that, and I'm going to put the link here. And I'm not doing a massive technology upgrade. I'm just doing a slight one. And so now I want you to go to Padlet, and I want you to tell me what you see, think, and wonder. And I want you to take the role of a real student of mine who would not be allowed to write, I saw dirt. So I want you to stretch your mind here a little bit. And let me know if it doesn't work or something, because sometimes that happens to me in trainings and in class. And I'm going to talk a little over you while you're writing your answers, because I think you guys know this. This is like the starter drug for teachers. Padlet is easy. It's easy to create. It's easy to do in class. And once they get that success level, then they're ready to look around at other possibilities. So I hope I'm on the right one.
I think the sharing settings need to be tweaked.
Yeah. And you know what? I remade it from the one I used 2 days ago. So let me change that. Let me just give you the other one. You're going to see what other people put. And it has a lot of the I see dirt on it. I have way too many. It takes too long to delete them. Here we go. Oh, wait, sorry. That's not it. Huh. Sorry about this, hold on. There we go. Okay, so you're gonna join. And with this, by the way, when you see these other responses, it was my opportunity to teach some teachers how like hardened soil wasn't a good answer. And when I was doing something today, I accidentally moved the think and see. So sorry about that. Usually I have see first. And I changed the other one. You could go on that one too, but we'll stay here. So it does if kids sign in, but if you're not having them sign in, which I didn't do, it doesn't. It might have. That's weird though. And when you look at this screen, you're seeing my view of it, and yours is probably a little different. Yeah, I probably do have names hidden on this one. I do that, by the way, often when I'm training, because I find that teachers who are sitting there with a principal feel apprehensive, I guess. My training yesterday was, though, I can't even remember now. So, it's a little harder now that I've added you to this other Padlet, because normally I can just see as stuff is coming in. And I'm sure you all know this about Padlet. And then I have a better idea. And I also do make students sign in, because 7th graders who have anonymous will write anything. In our see, think, and wonder here, and we can either turn on the mic or put it in the chat. What differences do you see between me having you write it on paper and turn it into me versus using technology? And feel free to turn on your mic, because there's not that many of us here.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I just, between doing it by myself on paper, I just see my answers. While with technology, I get to see my classmates' responses. Also with Padlet, I could respond with pictures or with some other medium if I wanted to, which is really great for UDL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm. And anyone else? So I'm trying to do my teacher wait time, but let me.
And it's for this is Karen. I was just going to say the other piece too is that it's preserved. I used to use the I taught most of my career in the 1900s, and you put things up on the chalkboard, and then maybe you were able to put things up on the wall or something. But this kind of preserves it, and it can be revisited and rethought about in ways that were harder to do in the past.
So funny to put it in that way, huh? 1900s. And also makes me feel old. But so let's break it down like this, because you guys are getting this. But if you look at the screen again, these are the 3 things that we really see as we infuse technology, the things that really become stronger. And the first thing is, of course, we're making your thinking visible, but now it's not just visible to me and you, it's visible to everyone. But most important to me, and the favorite part for me, is I'm hearing from every kid in my class. And I got to tell you, in the 1900s, I didn't. I heard from 5 kids, or I had to go home and read all of those. That's the beautiful thing about technology, quite frankly. And then when you share work, when you allow students to share work the way that we have on that Padlet, then some kids who are kind of still confused can watch other kids' responses come in and be like, oh, that's a good way. Or you might have your response up and then you compare it with some other student's response. And you might say, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I didn't think it's dark. I didn't think it was barren. That's a good word. I'm going to try and use that word next time. Like all of this metacognition is happening that simply did not happen in analog, just didn't happen in analog. And when we can get teachers to understand that they're missing this metacognitive experience in their classrooms because they're sticking with analog, and there's so much learning that's not happening in that traditional way. That, I mean, you still have to do some stuff traditional. I'm never going to walk in and see 100% digital classroom, although you might, but we're missing that metacognition in the other experience. We're missing hearing from every student. We're missing every student's accountable for their own thoughts. We're missing so much. And so if we put this back up, and it's kind of the basis for the Google Infused Classroom, is like we're looking at all of these research-based ideas and we're saying, great, you did that. That was good. That lesson was great. But did you make student thinking visible? How do you know that they learned that? Do you know it because 5 kids raised their hand? That's not so great. So also, how am I hearing from every student? Because I used to say in 2019, if you're not hearing from every student, but I need to change that. In 2022, if you're not hearing from every student every day, you might be doing it wrong. I can say that to you guys. I don't always say that in like a teacher training. I make it much nicer. But that's exactly what's happening and why we go to these tools. So when we're infusing, we're looking at how we bring in that metacognitive experience, how we're hearing from every kid, and how we're making sure that we know where every child is so that we can change our instruction in real time to meet their individual needs. And when we do that, that's a home run. That's when we're masterful pedagogists or digital pedagogists. So let me look at the time. I want to give Tanya a moment to talk about a really cool challenge that I can that will help kids make their thinking visible in the same way. If she's around, her thing is not there, but I see it's coming back on.
I'm here.
In our pink room. So I'm gonna skip ahead and then we'll come back to the last activity when she's done. But I want to make sure she gets this in but we're going to show you like such great making thinking visible that's just not happening in classrooms, and you guys know this. I feel so comfortable because you guys are like tech coaches and normally I'm have to be all nice about it, and we could do this, but you guys, I'm with friends here anyway. Go ahead, Tanya. I'll move to this.
Well, you know me, I'm not lying about the fact that I love working and love the products, right? So Adobe has Creative Cloud Express, which is formerly Spark. And I came last time. I see Katie. Hi, Katie. I want to cry. Katie and I were supposed to hang out next week, and that's not happening, which makes my heart hurt. But I'm amongst people who are part of our community for the most part. But one of the things that I wanted to share, if you're not familiar with Creative Cloud Express, is video. Because when we talk about, visible thinking and having students have the opportunity to make their thinking visible, to be able to hear from, every learner and to be able to share their work, right? When we go back to those principles, having students be able to pull together their ideas and, take something that would really be stagnant and turn it into something that actually really demonstrates growth is so powerful. So I actually am going to ask Holly, click on the link. It's going to take you to it's not going to play there. Just click on it. Yeah, there you go. So this is an example that I absolutely adore. And so, when you have, this was during COVID, when you have a project that you ask students to do and they bring you the product, and they work on it at home, and you literally have no sense of did they do it? Did their brother do it? Did their mother do it? And so I love the idea of pairing projects with this. And so this is really just getting students to document process and be able to explain their thought process of something that is physical or something that is, you know, that they are required to do outside of the classroom. It's a great reflection activity, but really, really like strong on getting kids to like talk through their thinking. So go ahead and press play.
Hi, my name is Yael, and in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you how I created the sling shooter and just taking you through my process. At first, my projects just started off as a plain simple pizza box, but then I had the idea of making a slingshot. So I first found these cereal clips that held my cereal boxes together, and I hot glued them then to make the perfect slingshot. After many ups and downs, I finally created the slingshot, but there was just one problem. I didn't know how I was going to place the ball and how I was going to make the elastics work. After many days of brainstorming, I finally created the perfect slingshot. I got hair elastics and cardboard and a metal piece so the ball would stay in place. When I pulled back the cardboard, the elastics would help throw the ball out to hit the hoops. After completing the slingshot and making it stable, I finally started cutting out the cardboard hoops so the balls could be thrown into them. After cutting out the cardboard and hot gluing everything, I finally drew the points onto the hoops, and the next video will be the final result. As you can see,
That's the best part.
I have elastic energy, and then when I throw it, I have mechanical energy because as it gets faster, the mechanical energy gets stored. After many weeks of brainstorming, I've gathered so many thoughts and I've learned so many things. One important thing that I've learned was to never give up, even when you're so frustrated, because at some points I did fail a lot and I got really frustrated and I wanted to quit. But then I thought that there's ideas out there for me and I just have to keep my mind open, and I finally achieved my goal.
I love that, right? Isn't that a great example of like pulling together what seemingly could have been something that like, well, I mean, I think you could tell that this was a student who did it. I think the project itself did definitely look that way, but no, but you know, very often like you don't necessarily know if they actually grasp the concept. And the concept here was talking about, it was the mechanical pull, and I can't remember, but you know, you heard her discuss the actual scientific piece that was attached to the project, and so that she made the connection and was applying her learning. So I think that's such a great example, and it's you know, having students that track process, you know, be that portfolio piece of showing growth is so powerful. So I definitely wanted to share that. That's probably one of my favorite examples that I saw, and this came out of the pandemic, but out of the pandemic.
But it shouldn't. It should be every day in class. We should be asking kids to explain the why behind why they do things, and we just leave that process out, and I don't know why.
Well, I do very often, but we know, I mean, we know that, you know, the assessments don't always match what we are valuing and what was, you know, what we want to see. Right. But I also wanted to leave, well, I don't know if I want to leave it yet. How are we for time, Holly?
We have 13 minutes. You're good. Keep going.
Okay. So, you know, very well, no, let's leave it to the end. Go ahead, go for it.
Oh, but then, okay, so we're meant to do another activity. We're never going to be able to do it in time, but
okay.
No, but I'm just going to go through it really quickly, just in case you're training teachers and you want to see another way really quickly. If we go back up to slide 17. So if we were going to do another visible thinking activity, what other kind of technology could we infuse with it? And so with this one, I did a Jamboard, and I'm just going to put the Jamboard really quickly right here, just to give you guys an idea. And because you obviously know how to use Jamboard, I just want to talk about the why behind Jamboard for this rather than Padlet, because I could have done, I used to think, now I think. So in this particular Jamboard that's on there, I would have students use a certain color sticky note, and then I would have them to answer. And I used to think, and now I think, the prompt was for teachers. I used to think this about textbooks, and now I think this about textbooks. And
I wonder.
it's interesting what teachers put. And I think I left one up actually on slide. Might not have. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So I left one. So this person said the textbook's is only one small resource in a multitude of resources available. So here's something else that is nice about Jamboard, if you're breaking it down with teachers, is that you have the opportunity, unlike Padlet, to put your answer first, to really have your thinking go first. And then you can go out and look at other frames, because they're called frames in Jamboard. And so that's really nice for some kids who need that opportunity first to not see everyone else is going up and get confused. So this is the kind of stuff I'm trying to teach teachers is, why am I using this one? Why? I need to think about that. And then what I would do next is have them, and you see this here, come, and now we're compare this. Well, we came over here to compare stuff, but I would do something different in a regular class, but compare this Jamboard activity to the Flipgrid one we did, because we did something on Flipgrid like it too, where we did, I used to think now I think. And so I'm having teachers use these little notes, and then we color coded them depending on what the answers were. And we kind of broke down why it is we're using Jamboard in this activity rather than slides, rather than Flipgrid, rather than Padlet. And so I think teachers need to see all of that, because what they do is they hear about Jamboard during remote teaching and they all fly over to Jamboard, and none of them are understanding the why behind it. So this has just been really successful for me, for us to deconstruct it, for us to talk about that why. Now, for me, I don't know if you've seen this, and just in case you haven't, and then I'm going to give it right back to Tanya. If I go to Flipgrid, and I'm actually going to have to move my Jamboard over to the screen really quick. If I go over to Flipgrid and I sign in, and I'm sure that you guys know this, but this is really important for teachers. Oh, wait, log in. I think I just actually went to sign up. So Flipgrid now has some new features, and they've come up with December 16th, they had a big update. And now if I go to, and let me just go straight to a camera, I'll just go here to one of my students' ones. And hold on, I can't get in that way. So let me just go to the camera. I forgot they moved it over here. So, now it's gonna send me over there. I'm gonna look weird for a second, okay? But I can go here to this backdrop. And now I can use computer and I can find that Jamboard activity, and I can put it up in my background. And now if I wanted, I could explain my thinking behind my answers. So I'm going one step further, not only just doing it on Jamboard, which is important, and kids can see each other's, and there's that metacognitive experience. Now I'm a masterful pedagogist. I'm finding out more than just the written response, which is often limiting, but it's the 90% of how we get responses in school. So now I might point to this and say, I don't agree with this, or I said this because. So it's that masterful pedagogy of taking it one step further to hear about student voice there. So I'm going to take this off because it's really confusing to me. And I also don't like that camera. And I'm going to let Tanya go back and finish up with that. But just that breaking down of the why is so important for teachers right now. Okay, Tanya, I'm going back.
All right. So I wanted to, I'm not muted, am I?
Nope.
Okay, good. Because I do that like at least once a day. So I wanted to leave everybody, this is kind of a side note, but I mean, it's still connected, right? One of the things that's really exciting about, technology is being able to share about who you are. Right. To be able to,
Tanya, who character is in history. Like, it doesn't have to just be a side note. It can also be.
Totally. And we're definitely seeing so many of these examples that are popping up. And so we, this month, our community every month, the Adobe Creative Educator community, starting December, but this month more officially, we are having creative challenges, and they're connected to themes. And so every month we have a theme. So this month, our theme is teacher as designer, because we are designers. We are experienced designers. We are instructional designers. We are creators. It's what we do. It's what we do really well. And so we created this template as a way for our community to share about themselves as creatives. And it is a creative identity template. And it's been really exciting because like, Holly, I didn't tell you, but we have over like 5,000 remixes in like 2 weeks that it launched, which is bananas. And we launched the student one 2 days ago, and I checked today and there was like 700 remixes, which is like next level, which means that like people are really enjoying this. I see Katie like smiling. She made one also. I know it's so bad, Katie. I haven't done mine yet. Shh. I mean, I haven't finished. It's like, you know, when you do it and you're like, everyone's gonna look, and it's like, I don't want it to be good. I'm having that moment, but it's okay. I'm gonna share it. It's a January challenge. It's still early, and I've been busy like really celebrating everyone else's. So I wanted to leave this with you guys to share with your teachers. First of all, the feedback I'm getting is like, this is a great sub plan. Like everyone I'm talking to is like, thank you. I love this. This is great. Because if you're popping in, I know that a lot of you guys are district, employees, and now you're like going into schools. This is a quick, right? Like this is just a quick, this is what people have been telling me like all week. Thank you so much. This is such a great sub plan. But but obviously it's more than that. Like it's a great way. It could be also used, exchange the person in the middle to a character from a book. I've seen people use this from gaming. Like I'm not really a gamer, so I'm gonna like totally butcher this, but like something with like, I don't know, they put the character and the character's stats, and I'm like, that's amazing. I saw someone do this with Helen Keller, like, and it's like historical, like, so there's
character in a novel. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a great template. It's just a great template, right? And you can kind of like modify it.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
And then you can finish it and you can put it on your Flipgrid screen and explain why you chose those things for Helen Keller. So we get the why behind it. Sorry, I had to.
No, totally. I mean, you can do that in Spark too. I mean, there's just, as long as you're like pressing record and sharing that out, that's great. So we also have a really challenge that we launched just 2 days ago. And Holly, there's a reason I haven't been putting stuff in the chat. I can't click on it. I don't know why it's not letting me type. So Holly, can you share those two links? Because I can't.
Yes, I shared it, but they're both the same.
No, one was a link to, there are two different ones.
Okay. I'm sharing.
What I did is I left you with my tweet. Because I was like, it's just, I figured even if you don't want to create one, if you want to share it, that's an easy way to participate. And then there's a page inside. I don't know if Holly, if you want to just open that up, but there's like when you open up the challenge, I put it to the tweet, but here she'll open it. And then Holly, just open the page on, So each challenge has a page, and it's designed to be like about a 15-minute challenge. And you could really do it in 15 for sure. And there's a remix template. So that's the template that you click it up, opens up automatically and forces you to like just log in. And then there's a quick tutorial. And I like the tutorials because it doesn't just teach you, like, it also helps you think about design and ways that you can modify it and make your own. So it's great. And then we also created the same format, but for students, and the challenge, the video is like speaking to students. So I wanted to leave you with that, something fun that you could share out and send and share with your faculty and your schools and challenge them as well. And you can even modify it. You can make it with like your school colors and add like your district's like logo and like challenge people as a, community building, team building activity as well. So make it yours. So that's that. I wanted to just share one. Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, and that takes us to the end. And any questions, comments, anything? I should be doing that on a Padlet, actually.
Well, we're super appreciative that you guys came, and feel free to reach out to myself or Holly anytime. You can always email me, avrith@adobe.com, and Holly at hollyclark.org. And yeah, I mean, we're really grateful to be here, and we have always a fun time with Virginia. So it's good.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to thank you all. This is Tim. I want to thank you all. I've already, the resources, I've already got some ideas. Like I said, the classes I'm teaching, and Tanya actually did send out the link to this challenge today in our division newsletter for the creative identity graphic. So I actually shared it. So I'm hoping you'll see some submissions.
Oh, that would be awesome. That's great. Yeah, there's the student one.
Right.
Gosh, I'll follow up in an email so I can give you like the exact links.
Right, it'd be great. Yeah, and
Awesome.
Holly, the whole thing with the Harvard website and the visual things, it's all been great. You definitely didn't disappoint. I mean, it was awesome. So I appreciate everyone that actually joined us. Katie, you're always a regular. Really appreciate you. Katie's worked involved with Unison this year and a lot of things. She's awesome. We get everyone to attend. I really appreciate you doing it. But again, Holly and Tanya, this has just been great. This is what it's all about. It always gets me fired up, and I'm ready to go and plan a lesson now for a lot of these things. So I really do appreciate it. Anybody else have any final comments or anything before we sign off?
Shout out to Tim too for organizing it. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
You're welcome.
You're awesome.
It's very blessed to have such